So I think a good way to start off this YouTube channel would be, just give a brief summary, I guess, of where I come from, my story, why I'm here, why I'm doing this. Um, I want to lay out like the foundation for what I see with this YouTube channel and what my goal is in even doing it and, making this. So, I grew up in the church, um, loosely. I grew up in a church that was Spanish speaking, having never been taught Spanish by my parents. So for the first, 10 years of my church life, I had no idea what was going on. I wasn't invested at all because I didn't speak the language. So it wasn't until high school that my mom decided to switch churches and go to an English speaking church. I was already out of it. I didn't have any desire to learn or to be a part of her church. I was in all kinds of extracurriculars anyway, and my time was taken up with that. So I had no desire to even spend more time and then go to church and learn about God and do all this stuff. Now, I had these sort of beliefs cemented because, my mom was a Christian and she lived that lifestyle. My dad was a Buddhist, though, so there was always this butting heads in the family when it came to beliefs and stuff like that. So I didn't spend any time trying to get to know any of that, right? I was pretty straight edge in high school. Wasn't a drinker, didn't smoke, wasn't sleeping around with girls or anything. And then after high school was when I started experimenting, drinking, smoking, just that, surface level. Had a few heartbreaks, got into some relationships. That's when it started to ramp up, started to snowball. Started to drink regularly, smoke regularly, sleep around with women, whenever. Um, got really depressed. I was in school to be a firefighter, got a back injury, dropped out. Um, and yeah, I started just going downhill from there. I had always wanted to be a firefighter. I had always wanted to do that, save people. Um, it was a dream job for sure. And I decided to start bartending. And, with that came a lot of late nights, more excuses to drink, um, in with the wrong crowds, different environments. Definitely not a beneficial um, environment to be in. So it wasn't until end of 2017, beginning of 2018, I had gotten super wrapped up in the new age movement of meditation and lucid dreaming and chakras and yoga and crystals and astrology and all of that stuff. And I started doing a kind of some truth seeking, I guess, conspiratorial digging. Um, and it was in that I started a lot of red flags started presenting themselves. I was watching these philosophers and these scholars and these professors and these lectures discussing different points on the stuff that I believed at the time. But a lot of them would use the Bible to justify their points. And so I was sitting there confused, like, wait a second, hold on. Like, I don't believe in God. Y'all don't believe in God. Why are you using the Bible to justify your points? Why are we cherry picking something that you apparently don't believe in to justify your points here? So that was interesting to me. I didn't quite understand why that was a thing, but it started making me, raising some eyebrows. Then I started getting into like Hollywood and celebrities and some stuff they say and who they worship and whatever. And I'm like, okay, this is starting to get a little weird. What's going on here? Wasn't until the beginning of 2018 that I met this guy who God had used to just kind of explain to me that I was being lied to and my vision of the world was warped. So he had told me that, instead of going home and meditating like I normally would do, I would go home and pray instead. So, I took him for his word and I was like, fine, all right, I'll do that. So I went home and, he had said, like, God knows your heart. So pray like you mean it. And I guarantee God's going to show you something. So I went home and I prayed and, I was asking God, like, hey, I have all these questions. I'm confused about a lot of stuff. Like, I'm curious about a lot of things. Help me out here. God, if you're real, just show me what's up. Help me understand these things that I'm so lost on. And so it was in that time where in my mind I got Matthew chapter 19 through chapter 23. All of those. And I wasn't an avid Bible reader by any means. I was not reading through the Bible. I didn't know anything really about the Bible. I had only very slightly dabbled in my 20 21 years of existence at this time. I think I was 21 when this happened. Um, And so I was like, okay, I had that, that book and those chapters in my head, and I found the Bible that was in my house and started reading through it, and it was just left and right, boom, 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 boom. God answered this, and then Jesus said this, and there was a parable on this, and he talked about life and love and marriage and relationships and purpose and all of this stuff, and it made sense. It made sense, and it opened my eyes. And I chose to renounce, my new age way of thinking and just seek truth. Not my truth, not 2018 truth, not whatever truth, the truth. That is what I was seeking to find, is the truth. I know now, especially in 2025, it's live your truth. Your truth is power, whatever nonsense is being spread now. The truth is not subjective, right? It's objective. There is no live your truth. Your truth is not the truth. The truth is the truth. And that's what I was seeking to find. And I just continued on that path of looking for the truth. That's what I wanted to discover. And, I was still smoking, I was still drinking, I was still sleeping around, watching corn. Um, all of that stuff still existed for years. It wasn't until the end of 2023 that I finally broke that cycle. And now, February 2025, I've been sober a year, I've been abstinent a year, I haven't smoked weed in a year. No weed, no alcohol, no women. And, in that time of learning and discovering back in 2018, I was still so new, but I knew that God was real, right? But I couldn't get out of that cycle. I couldn't break out of that cycle. And that's one of the main reasons why I wanted to start this YouTube channel, was to help younger people discover that they can break out of that cycle. Now, it's not by your own power that you break out of the cycle, because if it was by my own power, I would have broken out of the cycle years ago. You know, it's through God. It's in our weakness, He is made stronger. And if you continue to seek God and you continue to trust in Him, you will have a way out. He gives us all ways out, all the time. We are not tempted beyond that which we can bear. None of the temptations that we suffer are beyond that which is humanly possible to bear. And it's all about a mindset shift. It's all about a perspective change, habit change. We can get there. You can get there. And it might seem hopeless. You might think, dang, I just did it again. I did that thing again. I watched that video again. I, whatever it is. You can get out of it. You can break that cycle. You can break that habit with God's help, with Christ's help. And that's why I want to start this YouTube channel. I want to help people get out of that cycle. I want to help people see their potential. I want to help people see what God can do in their lives. I packed up my bags one day, loaded up my car, drove 30 hours across the country to the other side of the country, to a state I've never been in, don't really know much about, never lived in, all to get closer to God, to break the cycle, to break the habits, to change my life. And I'm not saying that's what you have to do. I have no idea what you're going to have to do. It might be as simple as changing the people you hang out with. Might be as simple as changing your sleep schedule, or changing your routines or your habits or your hobbies. I don't know. It's going to be different for everyone. But what I wanted to bring, why I wanted to come here, was to show people that they're not alone. It's not impossible, and you can get there. That is why I'm starting this YouTube channel. I want to speak to the younger generation, or even older generation, or anybody who's willing to listen. I want you to know that you are not alone. Christ is with you always. And I'm going to try to let Him speak through me and guide you in any which way. I want to talk about relationships and habits and routines and hobbies and perspective and life and physical exercise, mental exercise, emotional exercise, physical health, mental health, emotional health, all everything. I want to talk about so much. And I know God is going to do beautiful things. I know God is truly going to bless this, and um, I'm excited. I really am. I am, and it's it makes me a little nervous, but especially this being my first video and stuff. Like I know I'm going to look back on this in a year and just see how awful it is, but I mean, I'm learning, and I got to start somewhere too. I know that you guys all might have dreams or goals or aspirations and stuff, but you got to start somewhere. And starting, even if it's a little step, is better than never doing it at all. So, I hope this video finds someone, and even just this testimonial and this start to this YouTube channel video, I hope that it, you know, speaks to you in some way, shape, or form, and I pray that it does. So, for those of you who listened and stayed till the end, thank you so much. I cannot wait to start this journey. I'm super excited, and let's see what God does. Take care, guys. Have a good night.